What if the person who just changed your mind online wasn't a person at all? What if that heartfelt story, that gut-wrenching personal confession that finally made you see a different point of view, was a complete fabrication? Not just a lie told by a human, but a sophisticated deception crafted by a machine, designed for one purpose: to control what you believe. This isn't just a what-if scenario from a sci-fi movie. This is the true story of a secret experiment where a respected university deployed an army of advanced AI bots on one of the largest websites in the world. They created fake identities, impersonated victims of horrific trauma, and secretly manipulated thousands of people. All of this was done to answer a terrifying question: how easily can we be controlled by machines? This is the story of how they found out and how they crossed every ethical line to do it. Before we get into the heart of this deception, you need to understand the place where it all went down. This wasn't some dark corner of the internet. The battleground was a massive, well-known public forum on Reddit called r/Change My View, or CMV, with nearly 4 million members. CMV is one of the most unique and, in theory, idealistic communities online. The whole point is simple. You post an opinion you hold, and you genuinely invite the world to change your mind. The goal isn't to win or to shout down your opponent. It's to listen, engage with different perspectives, and be open to the idea that your own view might be flawed. The entire community is built on good faith debate and mutual respect. There are strict rules for civility and authenticity, and one of the most important ones, the rule that makes the whole thing work, is remember the human. You're expected to treat the person on the other side of the screen with dignity, as a real person with their own experiences and beliefs. The currency of this community is something called a delta. If someone makes an argument that successfully changes or even just shades the original poster's viewpoint, they get a delta. It's a badge of honor. It's a public signal that you made a thoughtful, persuasive argument that genuinely connected with another human being. It means you succeeded at the subreddit's ultimate goal, bridging a divide through discourse. This entire ecosystem, built on human trust, authenticity, and the sincere exchange of ideas, was the perfect hunting ground for an experiment in digital manipulation. The researchers didn't just pick any online forum. They chose a place where people are at their most open and vulnerable, a place where users intentionally lower their guard to be persuaded. They turned a sanctuary for human connection into a laboratory for non-consensual psychological experimentation. A team of researchers from the University of Zurich in Switzerland initiated a project with a stated goal of investigating AI's potential to reduce political polarization, a noble cause on the surface, but their method was anything but. The project was designed to test the raw persuasive power of large language models, the same tech that powers apps like ChatGPT. They wanted to know if an AI could not only mimic human conversation, but be more persuasive than a real person. And so, they secretly unleashed an army of AI bots into the r/Change My View subreddit. This wasn't a small test. Over a period of 4 months, these bots flooded the community with over 1,700 comments. The technology they used was a cocktail of the most advanced models available. capable of generating nuanced, context-aware, and deeply personal arguments on the fly. The researchers didn't ask for permission. They didn't tell the subreddit's moderators, who work tirelessly to keep the community honest. And they absolutely did not let the users know that they were the unwitting subjects of a massive psychological experiment. They justified this secrecy by claiming that disclosing the AI's involvement would have made the study unfeasible. In their view, to get a realistic result, they had to deceive everyone. The researchers even admitted they were breaking the community's explicit rules against undisclosed bots, arguing that the societal importance of their topic made it crucial to proceed. The operation was meticulously planned. For each debate, the researchers would generate multiple AI replies. Another AI would then act as a judge, picking the most persuasive argument in a tournament-style format. A human then gave the final okay before the comment was posted under a fake account. This created a finely tuned engine of persuasion, an automated system for crafting the perfect argument, ready to be deployed against an unsuspecting public. The ghost in the machine was live, and its mission was to change as many minds as possible, by any means necessary. What truly takes this experiment from a simple ethical blunder to a horrifying violation is how the AI was programmed to persuade. The researchers didn't just tell the bots to make logical arguments. They weaponized identity and emotion. They created a cast of fake personas designed to be maximally effective, to exploit empathy, and to hijack the trust that comes with shared human experience. The bots took on numerous identities. One pretended to be a black man who was opposed to the Black Lives Matter movement, an identity calculated to lend a specific, controversial weight to its arguments on race. Another posed as a domestic violence counselor to argue about relationship dynamics. But they went even further, into territory that is almost unspeakably grim. One AI bot impersonated a male rape survivor, generating comments that claimed to be from this victim, downplaying the trauma of the assault. Another bot pretended to be a trauma counselor specializing in abuse. These weren't just fake names. They were fabricated lives complete with fabricated suffering, all deployed to win a debate. The researchers had programmed their machine to impersonate victims of the deepest human traumas, turning their pain into a tool for manipulation. Imagine opening your heart to someone online who claims to have survived a horrific assault, only to find out it was a machine learning algorithm. This campaign of emotional exploitation was then supercharged by the second, and perhaps even more sinister part of their methodology. The researchers built a personalization engine. They used another AI to secretly scrape the post history of the users they were targeting. This AI would analyze a person's past comments to infer personal details, their approximate age, gender, race, location, and political beliefs. The system then fed this personal profile back to the main AI, which would tailor its response for maximum impact on that specific individual. It fine-tuned its arguments based on what it thought would resonate most emotionally and contextually. The researchers had moved beyond creating fake personas. They were now creating bespoke manipulations, personalized for each target. Disturbingly, the researchers did not seek renewed approval from their own university's ethics board before making this change. A clear violation of the research Oversight process. And the results were chillingly effective. According to a preliminary draft of their findings, the AI-generated comments were 3 to 6 times more persuasive than those written by actual humans. When a user awarded a delta to a comment, indicating their view had been changed, the AI was collecting them at a staggering rate. The personalized comments, the ones crafted after spying on a user's profile, were the most effective of all, performing in the 99th percentile of persuasiveness on the entire subreddit. This means these AI-generated victim impersonating, data-mined arguments were among the most successful attempts at persuasion ever recorded in the history of this massive community. The machine wasn't just passing as human. It was outperforming humans at one of our most fundamental skills, persuasion. It was a victory for the researchers and a terrifying glimpse into a future where our most sincere debates are silently and invisibly controlled by machines designed to know our weaknesses better than we do. For 4 months, this secret experiment ran undetected, a silent poison spreading through one of Reddit's most respected communities. The deception only ended because the researchers themselves decided to reveal it. In March 2025, after their data collection was complete, they contacted the moderators of Change My View and told them their community had been the unwitting host of a massive, unauthorized AI experiment. The reaction wasn't academic appreciation. It was pure outrage. The volunteer moderators, who pour countless hours into safeguarding their community's ethos of authenticity, were horrified. They described the experiment as psychological manipulation of unsuspecting users. In a public post that would soon rock the platform, they laid bare the details of the violation. They wrote, "Our sub is a decidedly human space that rejects undisclosed AI as a core value. People do not come here to discuss their views with AI or to be experimented upon." The moderators felt profoundly betrayed. They had built a space on the principle of remember the human, and these researchers had trampled all over it. One moderator noted he was drawn to CMV because it was a safe human place for the exchange of ideas. This experiment shattered that safety. The community's response was a firestorm. Thousands of users commented, expressing feelings of violation, anger, and a deep sense of unease. The trust that held the subreddit together was broken. The idea that their most vulnerable moments of debate could have been with a manipulative machine sent a chill through the user base. It fed directly into the growing dead internet theory, the fear that online spaces are increasingly filled with AI-generated content, making authentic human interaction impossible to find. In response, the moderators took immediate action. They banned all accounts associated with the research. But they didn't stop there. They filed a formal ethics complaint with the University of Zurich, citing the serious gaps in the ethics review process. They demanded that the university prevent the publication of the research, arguing that the results were obtained unethically and that publishing would only encourage more researchers to conduct similar non-consensual experiments. The secret was out, and the battle for accountability had just begun. The backlash wasn't confined to a single subreddit. As news of the experiment spread, it reached the highest levels of Reddit's corporate structure, and the company's response was swift and unambiguous. Reddit's chief legal officer, Ben Lee personally posted in the Change My View subreddit to condemn the researchers' actions. His words were devastatingly direct. He called the experiment improper and highly unethical. He went on to say, "What this University of Zurich team did is deeply wrong on both a moral and legal level. It violates academic research and human rights norms and is prohibited by Reddit's user agreement and rules." This was not a simple slap on the wrist. Lee announced that Reddit was banning all accounts associated with the research and, most significantly, that the company was reaching out to the University of Zurich with formal legal demands. He stated that Reddit wanted to do everything it could to ensure that the researchers are held accountable for their misdeeds. The threat of legal action from a platform as large as Reddit sent a clear message. This wasn't just a breach of community rules. It was a serious offense with real-world consequences. Faced with a full-blown scandal, the University of Zurich was forced into damage control. The university stated that it took the issues very seriously and issued a formal warning to the lead investigator. They also pledged to implement a stricter review process for future studies, particularly requiring researchers to coordinate with online platforms before launching experiments. Crucially, the researchers themselves, facing immense pressure, agreed not to publish their findings. The study they had argued was of high societal importance would now be buried. However, the moderators of CMV noted a critical detail. The university's ethics commission clarified it lacked the legal authority to actually force non-publication. The decision seemed to be a response to public outcry, not a binding command. The academic community also weighed in, and the criticism was harsh. Experts in research ethics pointed out the study's glaring flaws. Beyond the obvious breach of experimenting on people without their informed consent, the study was criticized for being methodologically weak. It lacked proper control measures, making its sensational results questionable. It was also revealed that the university's own ethics committee had initially advised the researchers that the study was exceptionally challenging and had recommended they fully comply with the platform's rules guidance the researchers apparently ignored. The core of the criticism came back to one fundamental principle: informed consent. The researchers argued that consent was impractical, a justification that was widely condemned. As one expert from the University of Oxford noted, informed consent is the cornerstone of ethical research because it underpins respect for people. By prioritizing their data collection over the rights and dignity of nearly 4 million people, the University of Zurich researchers had violated one of the most sacred tenets of their profession. The story of the University of Zurich's secret Reddit experiment is more than just a tale of research gone wrong. It's a landmark case study in the dark potential of persuasive AI. This was a real-world stress test that revealed a frightening reality. Not only can AI mimic human interaction, but it can be significantly better at manipulating our opinions than we are. The bot's success rate demonstrates that we have reached a point where the line between authentic human discourse and sophisticated automated propaganda is becoming impossibly blurred. The experiment confirms a deep-seated societal fear, lending disturbing credence to the dead internet theory. which posits that human voices are being drowned out in a sea of AI-generated content. What makes this case so profoundly unsettling is the method. The use of deeply personal, fabricated personas impersonating rape survivors and trauma counselors is a moral abyss. It proves that in the quest for data, a line was crossed from academic inquiry into active, psychological manipulation for which there was no consent. The fallout was significant. Reddit threatened legal action. The university issued a warning, and the researchers were forced to shelve their work. But the damage was already done. Trust in a community built on authenticity was shattered, and thousands of users were left questioning the reality of their own online interactions. This incident serves as a critical warning. We are standing at a precipice. As AI becomes more integrated into our social fabric, we have to ask what guardrails are necessary. How do we protect the decidedly human spaces online from being turned into permanent, non-consensual social laboratories? We can no longer rely on our ability to simply feel when we're talking to a machine. This experiment proves that feeling can be manufactured. The unseen puppeteer is no longer a work of fiction. It is code, and it has already proven it can make us dance. This story raises so many questions about the future we're building. We have to have a conversation about this. What do you think the real-world consequences should be for researchers and institutions that conduct unethical experiments like this? Have you ever had an online interaction that made you suspect you were talking to a bot? Share your story and your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe these kinds of stories are important and need to be told, please consider liking this video and subscribing. The more we understand these hidden forces, the better we can prepare for what's coming. Thank you for watching.